All right. I believe we are live. Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Crane. I am the Programming and Community Engagement Manager for the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. The Center for Creative Entrepreneurship is a pilot program of Arts Alliance Illinois, and we are working on building resources for the creative entrepreneur. We hit many different sectors, music, dance, theater, media, tech, a bunch of things. So check out our website at ccglobal.org. We're really excited about having our good friend Greg Spero here today. He is, an innovator, a world-class musician, a great person. And he has developed something that we're really excited about to share with all of you, Weebid, which is a new app. So Greg, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, Dan. Very excited to be here.
So, I think before we get started into the presentation, if you can kind of talk a little bit about how, the pandemic kind of shifted everything, right? It was like, you were touring the world consistently for a long time, then all of a sudden, hey, like you're at home. So talk a little bit about kind of that transformation and then this idea, and then obviously we'll go into the presentation.
Yeah, really, really good question. I think the pandemic shifted everything for all creatives, all artists. Creatives were struggling for a while because of the digital revolution. Certain aspects of the market have shifted to make things more challenging for artists, and they relied on concerts for most of their revenues, and we did. That's what I was. And then with the pandemic, that revenue source was taken away, and everybody was left wondering what to do. For me, I had tours scheduled; those were all canceled. And what it did for me was it gave me the opportunity to completely shift my focus and look at this problem in the art space that I'd seen for years. In the past 10 years, I've been exposed to the problem, and it gave me the opportunity to decide to do something about it. So I essentially pivoted from my full-time career as a touring musician and became a tech entrepreneur. This idea had been percolating in my mind for about 10 years since I started my weekly piano channel, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but then also through my tours with Halsey. And it was something that it's so obvious to somebody who's deep in the world of music, but so unintuitive for people who are looking at it from the outside, who don't have experience with the fan artist engagement and how this the different trends that have been happening over the past 10 years. So I found myself I've done tech entrepreneurship in the far past, and I found myself in the perfect position to bring this mechanism to life that could help artists get into hands in a better, more accurate, or open up this new thinking about it, but that's their way for us to tap into.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, that's great. And I think it's really been interesting to see how artists in general have pivoted, trying to find new ways to make money, right? Everyone's money dried up. So it's like, how do we do this? Greg, I have a question for you. Is my screen kind of shorting out a little bit or no?
No, I see.
Okay,
Great.
good. Excellent. So,
how about mine? I'm good.
Yeah. You were good. You were like maybe for a second there, but as
Okay.
long as we're consistent. So, let's get into it. Greg, why don't you go ahead and present?
All right. Great. Well, I see a few people in this room right now, and then I've shared this online. There are a few people watching live on Facebook and on YouTube. So I'm going to go through a slideshow that talks about the problem, how I came to it, the solution that we're building, creating this new fan-initiated marketplace that we call Weebid. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So I'd like to welcome you to Weebid, the first fan-initiated crowdfunding platform. I'll explain what it means in a moment. But first, let's talk about the problem. The life of an artist is hard. We spend our days making stuff for our fans, but we don't really know what they want. It's like playing darts with a blindfold on. We spend tons of time hacking together solutions, looking through YouTube and Facebook comments, risking our reputations on Kickstarters, and spending money creating things that have a high risk of not selling or even being wanted in the first place. This is the nature of an artist's career and doesn't need to be this way. There's an opportunity to take all the fan demand and monetization potential of an idea and aggregate it into a system that shows artists what their fans want and how much they'll pay in order to get it. If this tool existed, it would be the first place anyone would go to figure out what to make next. This is Weebid, and it consists of 3 simple steps. First, fans submit requests to their favorite artists, and then they crowdfund those requests, and then the artist delivers upon the request in exchange for money. It's simple, but it's a better method of creation that could revolutionize the commercial art. The way I came across was through my own channel, Weekly Piano. I have a ton of subscribers who ask me thousands of jazz-related questions, way too many to answer. So I decided I would do an experiment and allow fans to pay $50 to pick the content for my next video. The question answered for $50 became my best, most engaged answers, getting comments like, "This video changed my life," and "This is the most useful piano video on YouTube." Then I went on tour with Halsey, who spent almost all of her time and effort trying to figure out what her fans wanted. She spent 8 hours a day on Twitter studying what they were saying, and fans even made PowerPoint presentations to try to get their points across, describing what they wanted her to create next. So I took the fans myself, and I found there are tons of things that they would pay her for that she doesn't even know about. And even the ones she did know about, there was no way for her fans to tell her, "This is what we want, and this is what we'll collectively pay," to incentivize her to actually do those things. So we built Weebid to solve that problem. The first fan-initiated crowdfunding platform where fans submit ideas to creators, commit small amounts of money to crowdfund the ideas, and then the creator executes the ideas in exchange for the crowdfunded offering. What this gives to creators is insight into exactly what their fans want and an easy way to monetize it while enabling fans to leverage the crowd to get what they want. These are some of the creators currently on our private beta app. You might recognize some of the names there. Now, I know there's some investors in here, so let's talk a little bit about the market. The crowdfunding market is currently an $84 billion marketplace. However, Weebid taps into more than just crowdfunding. The model could be used to disintermediate the record labels, production houses, and TV networks that make up the $680 billion digital entertainment marketplace. We have a patent on the model, a working web app in private beta with some users like you saw earlier, and an iOS app in test flight that's about to be released. You can contact me at greg@weebid.app with any questions. And for the artists in the room, I know there's some artists watching this, especially on the Facebook channel. I'd like to invite you to become creators on our private beta app. And I'm going to walk you through the platform. Turn off my video here. So this is how you can actually engage with and use the platform. And other people in the room, I invite you to also make profiles on here so you can click around. It's working and it's being used by people.
As a creator, you'll want to go to my.weebid.app. There you'll be able to access the private beta of the Weebid platform. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see the Sign In button. Click that and you can sign up with email or Facebook. We're going to do email for test purposes. And also for test purposes, we'll say John Creator. Once you've created your account, you'll see your name in the upper right-hand corner along with the stock profile image, which you can change in settings. If you click in the upper right-hand corner and go down to the Respond page, you'll see your page with your profile there. Now, as your fans ask you to do things, they'll populate in the Ideas for Me section. You have no ideas on here yet, so there's just the Share Profile URL button there. Now you can click on that Share Profile URL, or you can click on that little yellow square and do share public profile. We're going to copy that. That is the link that you can share with your fans so that they can submit ideas to you and then crowdfund those ideas. So let's step into the body of a fan for a moment, and let's go into your public profile. So pretending that we are a fan of John Creator now, and we've just clicked on that public profile link that John Creator shared with us. Now we see ideas, and we see replies, and we see a button to submit an idea for John Creator. You can click submit an idea to John Creator, enter your idea, and we'll say play a piano improvisation. Submit your idea. And if you'd like to stay in the loop via text message, you can do that right here by entering your phone number, and then this is your fan, remember, so your fan will then get notified by text when you have replied to their idea. Now, remembering we're still in the fan's profile view right now, the fan can now submit to the crowdfund of this idea. So there's the My Bid down there, and there's the balance. So every fan starts out with a balance of $5. As they add bids, let's say bid $2, that bid is deducted from the fan's balance. So now the balance is down to $3 and the crowdfunded amount is up to $2. If another fan came on here and found this idea on your profile, let's say they bid $2 as well, then the crowdfunded amount in the center would go to $4, and so on and so forth, compiling all the fans' bids. Now, fans can also take their bids back at any point before you submit a reply to the idea. But once you submit your reply, then their money goes to you. So now, if we click John Creator from the fan view, this goes back to John Creator's page. And now that idea is there in the ideas section. So all other fans will be able to see play piano improvisation with bids equaling $2 or $4 or $6 or 1,000, however much the fans collectively have bid. So now let's step back into the body of John Creator. So I'm going to go back to that respond page from the upper right hand profile button. And now I see ideas for me and my replies. I can click on that idea, play a piano improvisation, and I can reply to that idea. The crowdfunded amount is $2, meaning when I submit my reply, that $2 will go to me. So reply, I can either reply with a link. Let's say that I put this improvisation up on YouTube or Spotify. I could click the link button and submit that as the reply. Or if I want to take a video reply directly in the app, I can do that with my photo library or taking a video. So I'm going to do that directly with a video here. And it's recorded piano improvisation, so let's do that. All right, there's our piano improvisation. We're going to use the video, confirm the reply, let it upload for a second there, and now the reply is added. So when I go back to my page, now on Ideas for Me, that no longer is there, but on the My Replies page, there's that reply. And if a fan were to click on it, they would see the video that I just recorded for them. And now, if you want to go back to the home page, you can engage as a fan with any of the creators that we have on the platform.
So let's talk about some next steps for Weebid. Firstly, we are welcoming some more users to the platform. So that's one of the reasons we're doing this, to welcome you to use the platform for the artists on here. You can go to my.weebid.app to get into the private beta. Then we want your feedback, which we're going to use to iterate on the app. We've been iterating based on fan feedback so far, and we've got some more cycles to do of this with features and tweaks to the current features to make this super easy to use and have it be something that's as valuable as it can possibly be for fans and artists to engage. We have an investment opportunity we'll use to increase our dev capacity as we iterate. And then we're going to scale when we have the app to a solid enough place where we want to take it to the mainstream market. You can contact me at greg@weebid.app with any questions. And I would like to now open it up to discussion. Thank you very much for watching the presentation.
Thanks a lot, Greg. We have a couple people here. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you have of Greg. I definitely have a couple for you. The first being, as you're developing this app, what is the process to kind of break it into, kind of the mainstream? So you're in beta right now, and so kind of how do you bridge from beta into, being able to, everyone be able to get it?
Really good question. So there's an iterative process that happens with an app like this when you're tapping into a new market. This marketplace that we're creating is a change in behavior for fans and artists. It's not a huge change. It's in line with what fans and artists have been doing, but it's a shift that requires a lot of nuance in how you funnel people into that behavior. So the process for figuring out the way to have people get it like that and immediately know exactly what to do and do it over and over and over again requires duration and use from fans. So that's the part of this funnel we're in right now, is that I described just a moment ago, where we're getting fan feedback. We're editing our features and creating new features based on that fan feedback. And at some point, it will be, so this is all invite only and fans can only invite each other, but at some point it will make sense to then market that, spend dollars on advertising and bring a mass amount of people into the platform. It's kind of a gray area when you know exactly the right time for that, but as it's growing, there will be a clear moment where we see that it's ready for the mainstream.
Yeah, and my other question is, you talked a little bit about it. One, it's like individuals can use this for, individual artists, but then you also talked about kind of a bigger picture of like labels and production houses. Can you talk a little bit about that kind of bigger picture that you have in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Really good question. So we're starting in the arts because that's my world. And I have friends like Quincy Jones and Herbie Hancock who are excited about the model and will come onto the platform. But what we're tapping into here is a shift in consumer and producer behavior that spans well beyond the arts. What that means is, as this gains traction in our niche, I see other companies using it. First of all, labels can use it, and artists can use it to be their own label. The definitions of these different entities will begin to shift because you allow a mass amount of people to put in their desire from a producer and to put their money into the incentivization for that producer to create that thing. So then you can have fans doing that for artists, but you can also have people doing that for a movie producer or an actor or a novelist, and eventually to product companies. I mean, imagine if you could say, Apple, I really want you to do this type of Bluetooth product that I've really wanted. And it turns out that there are 1 million Apple customers who are really into that. Or Tesla, we really want you to do a motorcycle. And then people can actually put their money where their mouth is and say, we will contribute to this, or we will pay for this if you actually do that. To allow that type of consumer behavior could be, well, and that's our mission, to make that a global shift in the way consumers and producers engage, to get consumers what they want more so than they're getting right now, and to de-risk the creation process for producers so they know what their consumers want even before they begin to make a product.
Yeah, I think that's a really important, the de-risk. It's like, I don't remember where I saw the quote, but I think the head of Spotify or somebody, talked about how like you have to kind of create a lot of content, but to create like, a great album, it takes time, right? there's a lot of time, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of time that you're not getting paid, necessarily. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're investing your own money, and then there's a whole process. So I think this is really exciting for being able to offer artists and musicians this alternative, while continuing to be able to create music, because
Yeah.
it's
Well, the trend.
yeah. Go ahead.
Go on.
No, there's also a question in the chat from Chris. It says,
Oh,
how do
sure.
you
Okay.
monitor, oversee quality control? Example, fans don't interact rudely, or artists provide sufficient responses to satisfy fan
Mm-hmm.
requests for the money contributed.
Mm-hmm. Really good question. Right now, we're doing it all manually. We see every question that goes through, and almost surprisingly, we haven't had anybody do anything rude or inappropriate at all yet. I'm expecting that to happen, and we look at each idea that's submitted to an artist, and we'll manually delete the ones that are either illegal or immoral or grossly inappropriate. And as we grow and scale, and when it can't be a human eye looking at everything, we're going to be incorporating artificial intelligence to track certain types of requests, language that people use, and have a flagging system that then goes back to somebody on the Weebid team who will look at all of the flagged questions and just remove the ones that don't apply, that don't fit within our guidelines.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes.
Brian, go
Please
ahead.
go ahead.
Yes, I kind of got into the music just a little bit late. I did want to ask, with the fans actually submitting the ideas, do they have any ownership in what the artists would do as far as submitting their ideas, or how would they go? How would that play out?
Mm-hmm. Really good question. So there are two layers to this. The first, what's built into the app right now is if you submit an idea to an artist and then all the other fans crowdfund that idea and the artist does it, you're entitled to 1.5% of the revenues from that idea that you submitted. So that'll get kicked back to your account. So let's just say, well, this is one of my favorite fun examples that's kind of ridiculous, but in all of our Halsey fan interviews, Halsey fans said, we really want her to dye her hair blue again. We'll pay lots of money if she just does the blue Halsey thing again. And I mean, in the vein of hundreds of dollars, some of the fans. So let's just say 1 million fans bid $1 each, and it's $1 million question. That person who initially put the idea in the system, they get $15,000 back to their account when she actually does executes that idea. So that's step one. But there's another even more important thing that we're developing right now. And this is one of the reasons that we're raising additional financing to develop, because it's a little more complicated. But we're going to enable the creator to tokenize their reply. And the people who bid, if they decide, we're calling that an equity idea when they do that. So if they turn their idea into an equity idea, and this is on the creator side, fan submits idea, creator said, I like this idea, I'm turning it into an equity idea, they can choose the percentage of the IP that's created from that idea to give as equity to the people who had bidding on that idea, and they'll get ownership in proportion to the total amount that they have bid relative to the total fund. And we'll probably do that through NFT technology. That's what we're studying and being to develop right now. Tokenizing it into an NFT, creating a coin that's then attached to the equity of that NFT, and then distributing the coins proportionally to the people bid out on the question.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask when you kind of get into the NFT situation with bid. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions for Greg? Well, good. Well, so, Greg, thanks so much for taking time today to talk to us and share about, what you're doing with Weebid. Everyone check out Greg Spero, check out his music, check out all the things that he's doing, and absolutely, if you know people that are interested in Weebid, and artists that might really connect with this, make sure to reach out to Greg. And Greg, can you put up one more time just your contact information in the screen if you have that last
One last question.
Oh, Brian's got a question. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, one last question. One last question. Sorry about that.
Please.
No,
Please.
Yeah. So, say for instance, the example you just showed, you playing on the piano. Say for instance that we crowdfunded having Quincy Jones play an 8-bar loop, right? We got a bunch of producers in there to be able to bid for that 8-bar loop. How would Weebid go about handling, I guess, the royalty aspect of it? Would that be kind of like a work for hire thing, or would that be something that Quincy Jones would also still see for the royalty side of it?
So that's one of the key elements, actually. I'm glad you pointed that out, of the way IP is handled in the platform. When you make, as an artist, when you reply to one of these ideas, if you don't make it an equity idea, if you're just replying to the idea because the fans incentivize you to do it with their crowdfund, you still own all the IP. So you can upload that to Spotify, you can upload that to YouTube, and you still get all of those post-creation revenue streams. And this is something I didn't quite get into in the presentation for time's sake, but I'll go into it now. That there are two marketplaces here that are very distinct in their natures. There's the post-creation marketplace, where you create some sort of IP and then you sell it through these oversaturated platforms, Spotify and YouTube, and that's what everybody's doing right now. There's the pre-creation marketplace, which is what we are tapping into, which includes Kickstarter and Cameo and these other platforms where people are engaging before the content is actually created. And there's money in the pre-creation marketplace to be had that does not compete with the post-creation marketplace. So you can get funded. Quincy Jones can get funded by you and me, and I'll contribute to that. I would love to have an 8-bar loop from Quincy. And we can incentivize him to do that, and then he can choose to tokenize that and give away royalties, and he'll probably get a much bigger crowdfund if he does that. Or he cannot tokenize it and have that 8-bar loop that he then owns the rights to, that we can use still, because you could put that even in the terms of your idea, create an 8-bar loop that we can all use in our productions for anybody who bids on it. But he still owns the rights to that 8-bar loop, and he would still get paid royalties on that if that were sold or streamed or distributed.
Okay. Cool.
That's a great question. Thanks, Brian. Yeah. Cool. Anything else? We're definitely in no rush, but just wanted to see if any more questions. Okay. Well, cool. I think that's it. So yeah, it's Greg at weebid.app, right? That's your email.
Oh yeah, let me share that again for you.
Yeah, put that.
I'll just share this screenshot.
Cool.
So yeah, if you email me there at greg@weebid.app, we are welcoming artists onto the beta platform, so I can help get you started on that. And I'm open to talking to anybody who wants to get involved. We've got a really cool community that has formed around this platform so far, and super excited to expand it out.
That's great. Well, Greg, thanks again for taking the time to share with us about Weebid. Again, everyone reach out, be on the lookout, engage with what he's doing. I think it's really important for the artist community, but in general, the creation community. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week, and take care. All right, everyone.